Kamala Harris's running mate, Tim Walz, has spent a lot of time talking about you for whatever reason after the debate. Let's listen.
Like all regular people I grew up with in the heartland, JD studied at Yale, had his career funded by Silicon Valley billionaires, and then wrote a bestseller trashing that community. Come on! That's not what middle America is.
Senator, I'll let you defend your own biography, but it seems like Democrats are against anybody who picks themselves up and makes something of themselves in this country. That's a threat for some reason.
Yeah, it is a threat because I think it's a threat to their worldview. And I really believe that the American dream is still alive in this great country, but only if we fight to preserve it and protect it for the next generation. Look, I mean, what Tim Walz said, let me say two things. First of all, I'm proud of my background and I'm proud of my family. The reason that I was able to go to college, serve in the Marine Corps, and go to law school is that I had a grandmother who hadn't graduated from high school, who raised me and fought every single day of her life to make sure that I had what I needed to be able to live my dreams. That's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to be proud of. And I'm very proud of my grandmother for giving me the opportunities that I've been able to have.
Is it Mamaw?
Yeah, and I called my grandmother Mamaw. And, you know, like a lot of kids who come from humble beginnings, I decided that I needed to make a little bit of money because a lot of people in my family depend upon me. And I've been able to help my mom, you know, buy a house. And I've been able to help, you know, nieces and nephews and other family members pay for some of the essentials because my Mamaw set me up well for life. I felt a certain responsibility to pay it back. And so, yeah, I went into the business world. I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of. But, you know, I will say this about Tim Walz. I'm probably the only person in the auditorium who actually feels kind of bad for Tim Walz because think about this. He's got the toughest job in American politics. He has to defend Kamala Harris every single day on the campaign trail. And I know we're in a Christian school right now. Say a prayer for Tim Walz because he's got a tough job. Think about my job. I get to go around and say that if you get Donald Trump back in office, we're going to have low inflation, we're going to have fast rising take-home pay, and we're going to have a secure border. That's a very easy record to run on. You know, Tim Walz is talking about me because he can't talk about his own running mate.
Can I just ask you, Mamaw,
yeah,
what would she say about where you are right now?
You know, I've asked myself that a lot, and I think, first of all, whatever she said, it would probably be laced with a few F words because Mamaw was a very deep Christian, very devout Christian, but she also had a foul mouth on her, and that was one of the things I loved about Mamaw. I think that what she would say is she'd be, I think, worried about any of this, and this is an incredible opportunity, but, you know, I think for some people, and I've certainly seen it in Washington, she'd worry about it going to my head. And she'd say, remember who you are, remember where you came from, and you'll make a good vice president. Don't be like those politicians who get to Washington and forget where they came from. And that's what I try to remind myself, because I think that, you know, Mamaw, she'd be impressed with it, and she'd love, you know, flying around on the Trump Vance plane. And I'm sure that she'd love meeting Donald Trump. Those are two big personalities. I think for the first time, Donald J. Trump would have met his match in my Mamaw when it comes to personality. But I think most of all, she would want to make sure, because she'd believe, like I do, that we're going to win. She'd want to make sure that I became the kind of vice president who actually made people's lives better. And that's what I hope to be. That's what I plan to be. And I'll never forget where I came from, in part because I was raised by somebody like Mamaw.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.